How's it going, everybody? This is Kevin Kring with College Golf Local, and I am pumped to bring you another guest on our Unique Path series. With me today is Sean Saunders. Sean Saunders is a local PGA pro, originally from Iowa, and played his college golf in both Nebraska and Iowa. And I thought that his story would be really beneficial for a lot of kids to hear. I mean, he's from a small town and ended up playing in college, good player, turned professional afterwards, and yeah, Sean, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks, Kev. Yeah, doing well. Excited to be on your interview list and tell my story a little bit. So
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start from the beginning. Just tell me a little bit about how you got started playing competitive golf and what that kind of original journey looked like for you from the early days of competing to
yeah,
playing in college.
yeah, definitely. So I was a like 5-sport athlete. So every season in Iowa, you have seasons, obviously. So I played basketball during the winter months. Golf was more summer months because it's more seasonal up there. Up in Northwest Iowa is where I was originally from a small town. So I started competing. Summer I would play just kind of like SMJGA. It was your city tournaments, your Pepsi Junior Tour, I believe is what it was called. I traveled with my dad. Like my dad was a big golfer, so he pushed golf. He knew that golf was going to take me places eventually. So I loved all sports. I thought of myself as more of an athlete than just a golfer, especially in my junior years. So I just wanted to compete. So any sport that I can compete at, that's what I wanted to do. So I did play baseball all the way up until my high school year. I was pitcher, and so that played into what tournaments I could play in. So that I did miss opportunities because I had to, I committed to that team. So there was tournaments in the summer that I qualified for. I made state one year, during the summer months, and I couldn't play in that event. And that was really kind of a downer for me because I was kind of pulled between baseball and golf. So I started playing, and when I took golf serious, I would say it was about junior high because my town where I was from, my dad developed land above a golf course. And so that was my backyard. So we had a nice little 9-hole golf course, and, I had a pretty much putting green in my backyard. So every night I'd go out there, start, compete with my dad. We just go play, and just play a few holes every chance I'd get. So we had the Nike Tour at the time. It was played at Dakota Dunes Country Club. It was a new course at the time in the 90s. And so I would go to those events, and we actually had a pro stay with us. And so that really motivated me. His name was Tony Grimes. He's a really good ball striker. And so I watched him play, and that really motivated me to play at that level. I wanted to someday be in his shoes, So that's really what got me going. And so I tried to play as many events as I could, but it was mostly local because I couldn't really travel that far because I had baseball games and I was working part-time jobs and trying to manage the time. It was just, there's only so much time in a day. So, and obviously Iowa is very seasonal. So we were restricted on, what we could do. And my dad was pretty busy. So.
So tell me, did you have visions of playing like baseball at the next level over golf? Was it kind of you wanted to try to do both at the next level?
Yeah,
Ultimately you played golf. So when did that kind of become the main focus?
Yeah, that was when, like Bo Jackson and I mean, I'm throwing some old guys out there, but, Deion Sanders and those guys that were multi-sport athletes, I thought that was awesome. So my aspirations when I was young, I didn't really know, I just had big dreams, and I wanted to play multi-sport. So, yeah. I didn't care what sport I was going to play at that time. I wanted to play pro. But then as I got older and I developed, and you realize how good the competition is at each level, even NAI, playing basketball I would have probably sat the bench, and I wanted to play right away. So that's what led me to playing at an NAI school right away in Nebraska. I played for Concordia University for 2 years. My brother went there, so I already was familiar with that school. I visited.
Did you get recruited there by their coach, or did you just because your brother was there, you just kind of went and told the coach like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm a good golfer"?
Yeah, it was kind of it was more verbal. I didn't really go through a process. I definitely waited way too long. I didn't really know, I didn't know the resources. At the time it was 98, 99 is when I really started the process. I was a junior in high school pretty much. I did visit schools, Missouri Western and Missouri, in St. Joe. I visited a school in Arizona, but those were kind of pipe dreams at the time because, the coaches, I would go visit and they were like, well, you're shooting, mid 70s. That's not good enough for us pretty much. And I didn't really, I didn't email. At that time you didn't really, so it was all, snail mail. So, I mean, I didn't really follow a process. So I just kind of, I winged it, and that's what.
Were you thinking coaches would like just you're a good enough player, coaches would find you rather than like any need to promote yourself? Was that some of the mentality almost?
Yeah, and I think because I was multi-sport, I didn't get enough practice in. I didn't get enough playing time in, and so that hurt me. I really didn't develop my game until my senior year of high school. So by that time, it was almost too late. So I won my regional tournament in high school. That's when I finally got noticed, and that's when the Concordia coach was like, "This kid's good," and so I proved myself at my senior year. But to play D1 or D2 is almost too late. My senior year, by the time I peaked, and winning a bunch of tournaments and all conference and all those awards, all those spots were pretty much filled, at the D2, D1 level. So I just kind of was like, well, at least I'm getting a scholarship. It was a small scholarship. I got a little academic scholarship, and I got to hang out with my brother. I was really close with him. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. It's what I needed at that time. I don't think I was prepared to go to a big school, maturity wise. And so I think that all played into my decision. And my parents, they really wanted me to go to Concordia with my brother for 2 years. And then he graduated. And that was kind of the next step. Once my brother graduated from Concordia, and, I was actually getting worse. So my freshman year at Concordia, I was number 1 on the team. By the end of the year, the scoring average, I was lowest on the team. I got second in the conference tournament, which was a pretty big deal for Concordia. And so, I was looking to improve my game. And, the ultimate goal at that time, I wanted to play pro. I didn't really know what it took to play pro. I just wanted to be like Tony Grimes, who stayed with us at our house every time the Nike Tour came through. And so I just wanted to get to that level eventually. I didn't care what it took. And once I stopped those other sports, I think, being in multi-sports is great, but if you're in too many, you can't focus. And so once I was able to focus on one sport, I excelled like really fast. And so I went from shooting, high 70s to mid to low 70s, pretty consistently, under pressure, which is the key. And, playing pretty tough golf courses at college or longer. And I was getting stronger because I was lifting weights. I was working out with my buddies that played other sports. So I could compete at, a higher level. And so that's when I transferred to Morningside College back home in Sioux City, Iowa. They just got a new golf team. So I knew I'd play right away.
Right. So you spend the 2 years at Concordia, your brother leaves, you kind of outgrow the program more or less. Are you then like reopen the recruiting process, or did you just kind of have that one opportunity that you knew of? Did you just tell the coach you're coming and hope it worked out? What did you even going through that transfer process look like?
My sophomore year, it was rough. My priorities weren't right at that time in my life. So I didn't spend the time like I did my freshman year. School was kind of kicking my butt a little bit. So I wasn't focused. And when that happens, I'll tell any of my clients, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because, I didn't make top 5 on my team my sophomore year. I was number 1 on my team my freshman year. I got a little cocky.
Tumbling, yeah.
Yeah, I got a big head, and I thought I was better than everybody, and I didn't put in the time. And you can't do that in golf, especially I don't care what level, NAI. And we had a good team my sophomore year. We had a couple of transfers come in, and they took my spot. And so that humbled me. That was the best thing looking back, what happened to me. And so I just was ready to start a new beginning, I guess. And Morningside College just picked up a new golf program at the time. They went from Division II to NAI. So I actually got to play in the Division II conference tournament, which was a big deal to me because I got to play against, North Dakota State, Minnesota State. All those bigger schools are now D1. And those were really good players. So, that kind of humbled me as well, that what it took to play at not only Division I, but Division II. There's a lot of good players. So that was a great experience. That really motivated me. I took it to another level, and at Morningside, we got to play the number 1 course in South Dakota, which was that's where they played the Nike Tour event. So kind of like Highland Springs. So that was great experience to play a pro level course all the time. And so that really, I think, upped my game quite a bit. So then when I played these other courses that were, the Payne Stewarts and the around here, they were pretty easy. It was like way easier to score, around par. And so that's what I think catapulted me into the next level. So
Yeah. So then you were able to finish up your career at
Morningside.
Morningside. So
Yeah.
you've been at two schools throughout the whole time, but by the end of your time at Morningside, are you kind of like, oh, I'm a good enough player. I wish I would have, maybe tried to pursue a Division I school. Just what's your thought process? I mean, do you have any regrets with how you went through the whole process like that?
I don't think I have regret. The only thing I would have changed is I would have probably just played basketball and golf. So basketball was winter months, so I wasn't missing anything. I mean, up in Iowa, it's freezing, and it doesn't get nice till about May. And so, I would have focused more. I would have worked with a coach or somebody. I would have sought out more help and somebody like us that can direct a kid to write a golf resume, what tournaments to play in that would have been more statewide. I would have played in more tournaments during the summer. I wish I would have had the opportunity to do that instead of playing baseball. I mean, baseball was great and I learned a lot, but it's what I did when I started. Baseball was my first love sport, but I look long-term, my dad was right. I hate to admit that, but he told me golf's going to take you places, and it has. I mean, I own a golf academy, a golf business now. I'm working with other kids to help them make better decisions, so they have more opportunities. That's really what it's all about. I just wish I would have had more opportunities, and I think I could have played at a higher level. I didn't really get, honestly, shooting the 60s and reaching that level that I wanted to till after college. And that's when I moved to Arizona. I played, a couple mini tour events out there just for fun and got to experience, and that's when I got into the golf business full time pretty much. So,
yes. So last thing I wanted to ask you here, I mean, you're a small town guy from up in Iowa, just
yeah.
any like one little bit of advice, like one thing you would say to a small town kid here in Southwest Missouri about, maybe one day will have a dream to play college golf, or they already do. What's one thing you would tell them to do?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is stay humble, keep working, keep improving, and set your dreams big. I always use the quote with my clients, shoot for the stars, you may drag your feet in the treetops, but if you shoot for the treetops, you may drag your feet in the mud. You may not even
Good.
get a shot to play college golf because, your ego maybe got in the way, or, and that's kind of what I think. When you're young, you don't know what you don't know. And so I think, just be humble, take advice from people that have been there, that have been through it. Seek out somebody that's experienced it, somebody like you, Kevin, that is playing professional golf, what it takes. Interview somebody like that's at the level that you want to be at. I wish I would have done that more. Had a mentor, I guess, that played higher level, that played pro, played Division I golf. By the way, my coach at Morningside was awesome. She played Division I. I kind of want to hit on her a little bit, Michelle Bailey. She really helped me develop as a person more so than just my game. When I transferred my junior year, I was pretty much the captain on the team, and she really honed me in when my attitude was not good. So that helped me develop as a person. That's made me who I am today. The first coach I had, he was great, but it was a little more old school. Really didn't coach us much out on the course. Didn't really help me develop and as a person. I just didn't have that relationship. And I think that's important, that you find a coach that you play for, whether it's college or just your swing coach or whoever it is. You need a mentor or coach to tell you, shoot you straight, sometimes humble you, tell you what you need to hear, not always what you want to hear, and take that and grow. Because it's all about growing, and that's what college golf is. I wouldn't be where I'm at today owning a successful business if it wasn't for college golf. I'll just be honest. And my coach, Bailey, had a lot to do with that. And so I think you end up where you need to be. Don't force it. If you keep working hard and you do the right things, and also maximize your return on investment on your time and your money. So I always think of that. And I didn't learn that till my 30s. I wish I would have learned that when I was 16, because for example, you can spend your time, on your phone, scrolling, and your tablet scrolling through social media, and you look and you're like, wow, an hour's passed, right? and it was kind of a waste, right? We've all done that. Or you can use your time to manage your schedule, to schedule your practice time, to maybe get an app and actually make yourself better. Go on a podcast and listen to something that's going to make you better. Use that your return on investment on your time, and then also your money, because so many times we may look at a swing coach or a fitness trainer, or oh man, it's really, I don't know if I have that financial to do that. Well, look at what you're spending your money on. Sometimes we're spending money on games or apps or things that we don't really use for a week and then you don't use it anymore. So I think really think about the time that you use wisely and maximize that time, and you'll be successful in golf, but also life. And I think that's more important as well.
That's awesome. Well, Sean, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Kind of sharing a little bit of your story here for the College Golf Local audience. I appreciate it. I want to wish obviously the best to you and your family during this time, and we're hopefully able to get on the course and see one another pretty soon.
Definitely. Thanks, Kev. I appreciate everything you're doing for these kids, and I think it's an awesome thing that's going on here. So, great job.
All right, Sean. Well, be well. I'll talk to you soon.